Hi, Matyas. Let's have a look at your essay. So first we have the graph about movies, and then we have the essay about international marketing. First, the graph. The graph above shows what type of movies young adults enjoy the most, divided to male and female groups. Okay, we got a bit of spelling errors. What type of movies young adults enjoy the most? You can say distributed by sex. Sex, not gender, by the way, not divided to male and female. And again, a very good idea is to use more academic vocabulary such as distributed or distribution. As expected, action movies are much more popular amongst young men than women. Although, and here we need a comma, uh, although the biggest difference, biggest is spelled like this, appears in relation to romantic movies where girls are highly beating boys. Okay. I wouldn't say it like this. Perhaps we could change the formulation. Although the biggest difference appears in the case of romantic movies where they are clearly more, let's say, favored by girls than by boys. If you say girls are highly beating boys, what springs to my mind is girls actually giving a beating to the boys. You don't want to create confusions like this because you don't mean this, I know. You refer that they're more popular with females than males. But again, please try to rephrase. Perhaps my formulation will be fine with you. It is also clear from the graph, I really like this part, that male movie fans, very nice way of putting this, yes, not just boys or men, prefer, no, not prefers, prefer, because your subject is plural, right? Fans prefer action and comedy movies the most, while comedy and romantic movies are the main favorites of females. Favorites of, and this becomes very, very, very economical. And comedy, I would suggest we use another linking word, such as still comedy is not the only equally liked by both genders, but it is also the most popular category. I wouldn't really advise you to formulate it like this because it sounds a bit weird. So perhaps you could say that still comedy is not the only type of film equally liked by both genders. So it's not the only type of film um, equally liked by both genders, but it's also the most popular category with both. Okay, so it's the highest and equal. Okay. Animation movies are preferred by young men just as much as by young women. Semicolon. However, all in all, comma, it is the least liked category. I really like the way you formulate, you analyze data, you vary your vocabulary. This is really great. Remember to do that at the exam. Do not repeat the same words because this will decrease your vocabulary score just tremendously. Okay, but mind your punctuation. Punctuation around linking words like however, separating one clause in a large sentence from another. So punctuation is a minor thing. It's a small thing physically, but it might increase or decrease your score considerably. Surprisingly, horror movies horror movies are also equally liked by both girls and boys, although it scored. If you say it, you refer to one thing, but you say movies. So, or you can say although this genre, right, and you refer to the type of movies or genre movies, scored just a little above animation movies. Perfect. Yes, absolutely perfect. No, you don't need to correct anything here. Okay, I think the main lesson, you probably mean lesson, right? Because you say the main something we can learn, the main lesson we can learn from this graph is that we should choose comedy if we're about to watch a film with a representative of the opposite sex. Opposite sex. Okay, lesson like this. Uh, is that well, I have corrected the sentence to just show you how you can correct the grammar, but this sentence wouldn't be necessary. You don't really need to say what you could learn from the graph. No, this is not required, and I would even say it is wrong to do so here. So you can summarize in a one final sentence the final trend or the final main feature of the whole graph, but not what you think about the graph, definitely. Other than that, you have outlined very good points. However, perhaps you could have included um, some numbers or figures or more specific data because you just say they're more preferred, they're less preferred. So don't forget to include the most relevant figures as well. Okay, now let's have a look at your essay about international marketing. By the way, remember not to do this and do not write separate sentences. Make sure that your sentences are appropriately, beg your pardon, combined into paragraphs. And yes, another thing here, as you could see, now you have no spelling errors. I have corrected everything. And look at the number of spelling errors you have here. International, exhibitions, um, coin, weaker, or businesses, companies. These are very minor, like spelling mistakes, typos that could have been avoided. So please make sure that you proofread your writing very well because spelling errors can detract and will detract from your score if there are way too many and not just, beg your pardon, and not just occasional. Now let's go. International marketing is used to reach people all around the world in order to convince them about an idea or a product. Okay, by it is used by whom? Perhaps you could add that too. By what kind of companies? Can international marketing be applied in a way that meets the demands of human morality? And if so, is it used that way? Okay, this is an interesting way of putting that. The demands of human morality. Never thought about this way. But yes, you can actually say it like that. That's an interesting turn. Marketing means advertising products to increase the selling rate. Yes, hallelujah. I admire your correct understanding of the topic. Yes, way to go. Please make sure that you do the same at the exam, really. It's very hard to see what this has got to do with education, ideas, and especially with culture. Um, this is very informal. What this has got to do, we have a formal essay, especially you're going to take IELTS academic, judging by the fact that you have chosen a graph to comment on. So if you're going to write an academic essay, you really have to make sure that you use only formal or neutral vocabulary. You can say it's very hard to see which is the connection of the concept of marketing with education ideas and especially with culture. However, there are some examples. Great use of short sentences in contrast with long sentences. Remember, this used appropriately like here, is absolutely wonderful, and this will give you a great score in terms of grammar. Great museums, exhibitions, theaters, and art events are advertising themselves or are being advertised by cultural organizations all over the world. People can get to know, again, this is informal. I'm not going to rewrite it for you now, but I will just draw your attention to it. This is informal. Make sure you say it in a more serious way, in a more, let's say, in the way you would use language when writing to your professor or your boss. About new books, authors, composers, People, wait a second. People can get to know about new books, authors, or composers, and therefore, they can form the feature and future of global artistic life with their spelling. Opinion. Opinion. Okay. Furthermore, people can get information. Okay, this is also informal, obtained perhaps, on about scientific life by published articles, and advertising can help them to choose the university or course most suitable for their needs. Okay, I think I was too fast. Yes, this is the correct interpretation of the. Oh, I beg your pardon. I dropped my mouse, apparently. Okay. And we're back. Okay. This is the correct interpretation of the topic. Uh, wait a second. Here. Okay. This is a good sentence. It says the right thing, but remember, you said to increase the selling rate. It is not quite clear from this paragraph that you're speaking about advertising working to increase sales. You basically speak about spreading information, how good this is, especially for cultural purposes. So the overall idea of this paragraph is not quite clear. I mean, what are you trying to argue for? Are you trying to explain how marketing advertises products to increase the selling rate? Or are you trying to explain how marketing works in terms of culture? And even if so, which side will you stick to? I'm not sure about this. So um, perhaps you could reorganize this paragraph to show clearly how you agree with the idea that international marketing is a necessary and economical form of education and a method to spread ideas, language, and culture. I mean, you have great ideas here, but they are formulated in a way that need rereading all over again to just understand why we're reading this paragraph. The other side of the coin shows that the greatest part of international marketing is occupied by multinational companies and is used in a very aggressive way in order to sell the maximum amount of a certain product. Okay, yes, we're coming to the product part. Okay. I'm not sure why you use the word show here. You could say the other side of the coin represents the multinational companies who use international marketing in a very aggressive way in order to sell the maximum amount of a certain product. I would rephrase it like that. These companies spend a lot of money on their advertising methods, causing the financial collapse of many small local factories. How exactly? How? How is this collapse happening? Why? How can factories collapse because of advertising? You really have to add a bit more explanation. The centers of most of the multinational businesses are located in wealthy countries, but they are selling their products to much less wealthy nations. As a result of this, money flows from the weaker economy to the stronger economy, from the poor to the rich. I can kind of guess what you mean, but I'm not sure what you mean exactly. I do understand that you mean that the large companies undermine the economies of the weaker countries. They outsource or they advertise and take what? Their money, their buyers, their what? So I read a couple of good ideas here, but this again has to be organized in a more coherent way. Okay, so But you have really good ideas. I really like your ideas and I really like your vocabulary. You have very promising vocabulary. But remember, try to work on your main idea. In my opinion, there should be more strict laws and rules about international marketing in addition or in order. I would say in order because you're trying to show purpose in order to stop profit-centered companies spelled with an A, from manipulating and using the less educated people of poorer nations. Be very careful with statements like this. This is very rude. Very rude. You could say people who do not have enough information are misinformed, but perhaps, but less educated. No. So you have very good ideas. You have very good vocabulary. You have very nice sentence structures. You have quite a nice range of both vocabulary and grammar. But your main problem seems to be coherence and cohesion. And this is an issue with the clarity and integrity of your thought. Remember, your paragraph should be structured roughly like this. I'm trying to fix what you have. International marketing indeed spreads ideas, language, and culture, and this is how it does it. For example, it does this in this country and that in that country. Conclusion: look at all the benefits it can do. Yet, there's the other side of the coin. The multinational companies use international marketing to undermine poorer countries' economies. This is how it happens. This is an example for that. Conclusion: yes, there is a huge detrimental impact of international marketing. Conclusion: there should be regulations about this, but we cannot overlook the benefits. So I have tried to make it to illustrate what we mean by clear organization of thought. So we shouldn't really make an effort while reading your body paragraphs. So I really hope it all makes sense. All the best for your exam on Saturday, and good luck.